Okay, Panther Cubs, it is week 10, Wednesday. Number 1 says round to the hundreds place. Number 3 says which shows the commutative property of addition. And number 4 says Riley makes necklaces. She has 423 red beads, 208 green beads, and 137 white beads. How many beads does Riley have? If you haven't done the work at this time, please pause the video, go back, do the work, and then you can resume. So number 1 says round to the hundreds place. So I have 5,278. And I'm looking to see which digit is in the hundreds place. So I see that our 2 is in our hundreds place. So I'm going to underline it. That 2, I'm pretending that 5 isn't there for the moment. That 2 is 278. So I know that 278 is in between 200, and then after 200 comes 300. But remember, we put the 5 back on because it really still is 5,000. Okay, we move to the right now to see if it's going to be a red or a green number. And 7 is a green number. So that tells us that we are to go. So our answer is 5,300. Okay, number 2 is a subtraction problem. We can't subtract side to side like that, so we need to put the numbers up and down, which is called vertically. And I'm going to fill in with a placeholder there. Okay, and since I'm subtracting, I'm circling where the bigger numbers are and thinking about my poem. So I see that there is more on the floor. Go next door to borrow 10 more. So I have 1 10. I'm going to trade it in for 10 ones. So if I had 8 ones already and I get 10 more ones, I'm going to have 18 ones. And I know, because of my doubles fact, that 9 and 9 is 18. 18 minus 9 must be 9. Okay, now I can move to the tens place. I have a 0 and a 7. Circle where your bigger number is. More on the floor. Go next door to borrow 10 more. So I had 5 flats. I'm going to trade one of them in for 10 tens. I didn't have any tens at all, so when I trade in and get 10 more, I just have 10. And 10 take away 7 is 3. Circle where your bigger number is. More on top. No need to stop. So 439 is the answer. Okay, and number 3. Which shows the commutative property of addition? Well, I know that the commutative property is the one that says I'm commuting. So I'm going home to school and then school to home. I ride on the bus. The bus helps me commute. So I know that I'm going to get rid of C and D because they are ones with zeros. So they are out. Then I'm looking at A and B. I'm looking for the same numbers on both sides, just like when I commute. I'm going home and school, school and home. I'm going the same places, but in a different order. So the one that does the same numbers, but in a different order, is B as in boy. So 6 plus 3 plus 2. And then on the other side, I have a 6, a 3, and a 2. But they're in a different order. So 6 plus 3 plus 2 is equal to 2 plus 3 plus 6. So B is our correct answer. And number 4, Riley makes necklaces. She has 423 red beads, 208 green beads, and 137 white beads. How many beads does Riley have? So first I'm starting with my important information. Riley makes necklaces. Okay, that's great, but not really important to me. She has 423 red. So I'm going to say red is 423. almost always your numbers are going to be important. 208 green and 137 white. How many beads does Riley have? Remember, your question is always important. So we want to know, how many beads does she have? Well, if I have some red over here, some green over here, and some white over here, and I want to know how many are on this board, then I'm going to put them together. Green, red, white. So there are my piles of beads. I want to put them all together. If I'm putting them all together, that means that I'm going to be adding them. So I'm going to do red plus green, and then I'm going to do that plus my white to get my answer. Okay, so red plus green, 423 plus 208. If I'm adding, I don't need to be circling. 3 plus 8 is 11, so I'm going to put the ones, carry my 10. 1 plus 2 is 3. 4 plus 2 is 6. So this is 603 between the red and the green. I'm going to check it to make sure I added correctly. So since it was addition, I'm now going to do subtraction. Bottom number minus the middle number. Subtraction is my figuring out where my bigger number is. More on the floor. Go next door to get 10 more. I had 1, I got 10 more, so that makes 11. 11 minus 8 is 3. 2 minus 0 is, whoops, circle my bigger number, more on top, no need to stop. 2 minus 0 is 2. Circle my bigger number, more on top, no need to stop. 423, and that's what I started with over here, so that means I added correctly. Now I need to take my red and my green, and I need to add the white. So I have 1 plus 7 is 8, 3 plus 3 is 6, and 6 plus 1 is 7. So 768 beads. And I'm going to make sure to label it and circle my answer. Now I'm going to check to make sure I added correctly. That's the C, so I take my bottom number, 768. It was addition, so now it's going to be subtraction. I take away the middle number. Whoops, that's not the middle number. 137 is my middle number. 631 is what I should end up with. So circle where our bigger number is. More on top, no need to stop. Circle where our bigger number is. More on top, no need to stop. More on top, no need to stop. And that's what I started with over here. So my final answer is 768 beads. Make sure you have that on the front of your paper as well as a label. If you have finished before it's time to switch, please go on IXL into E1, E2, E3, E4, E5, or E8.